vraiment ravi d'être parmi vous.
I'm thrilled to be with you. For me, this is a golden opportunity to convey a message. I think we're just at the beginning of a revolution in education, which will finally become accessible to all. And that will have a huge impact on millions of people around the world. As a lot of speakers, I am going to talk also about my personal history. And this begins, and it's not a joke, with the time when I was very young. When I was young, there was something that my mom constantly said. She said, go out a bit. Don't remain glued to your computer. And you have to understand my mother. She was there. I was sitting in front of the computer for hours and hours, and I just didn't move at all. I didn't go out into the sun. My mother was worried about my vitamin D levels, heaven knows what. Yet I was connected to more people than my parents' generation in the whole of their lifetime. I created links, and without realizing it, I created the foundations of my own future, and that has brought me to speak to you here today. In fact, I began around the age of 13. I was in junior high school, and I'd always had a computer at home, but I started to get bored. I used it, but I wanted to learn how to create things with it. And at that time, I wanted to create a website. That was in 1999, so I didn't think about going onto the internet. I went to a bookshop to find a book for people who wanted to create a website. So I went to the bookshop, and I couldn't find what I wanted. All the books on the inside said, this book is designed for development professionals. I was just a beginner. I was 13 years old. There was nothing for me. So I didn't stop there, fortunately. I picked up one of the books, and I learned thanks to it. Of course, there were problems. In particular, sometimes words were used on page 10, but weren't defined into until page 110. That was a bit crazy, but that's what I noticed in the book. So after reading the book, I thought to myself, well, because I want to create a website, I'm going to create a website to explain to other people how to create a website the way I would have liked to have learned about it. I became a bit schizophrenic. I started talking to myself, the myself I had been a few weeks previously. Matthew, this is what you need to know. Start with that. It takes time. If you don't understand, don't worry. It'll all work out. And then I launched a site like that in 1999. I called it Site Zero. There were just a couple of friends who talked about it to friends of theirs, and so on and so forth. And 17 years later, well, in fact, I have continued with it. The site still exists. There are about 2 million members on the site who regularly learn through the site. It's now called OpenClassrooms, and you find more than 1,000 courses online, and training is followed by people of all ages. I'm fortunate because very early on I discovered what I loved. I love to teach. Yet when you think about teaching, if I say teaching to you, I imagine most of you will imagine a teacher on a podium who talks to an assembly and who gives a course, and the students listen and take notes. And the class lasts for exactly an hour. That's how things usually work today. And that's how things worked about 200 years ago, too. And after 200 years, we still use the same teaching method. It simply hadn't changed. Yet the world has changed. Technologies, for example, are everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere, but not in classrooms. And when you have technology in a classroom, sometimes it's even worse. You find the technology, say an iPad or an interactive something in a classroom. This is thrown at the students. They're told, oh, you'll be more intelligent if you use that. But that's not how things actually work. Technology is just a tool. It's the chalk and the blackboard. It depends how you use it. Technology, some people ask me, is it an opportunity or a threat? And I say it's neither one nor the other, or both at the same time. Everything depends on how you use it. It's like fire. Fire is beautiful and useful and can be dangerous at the same time. I consider that we're at the prehistory of this educational revolution. Those who imagine online education are thinking perhaps about young people who watch videos or YouTube. But in fact, I can tell you that online education goes far further than that. Currently, when you follow a training online, you're accompanied by a mentor. A mentor is an expert in the area who meets you through video conferences, who gets to know you, who analyzes your goals, the kind of job you want to get, and who's going to adapt to your needs. He's going to give you objectives for the following week. He'll say, read this part of the course, do this exercise, and then we'll see each other again in a week. You work for a week, you try and do what he asked, and then at the end of the week, you find your mentor. It's a video conference, and the guy says, well, how did it go? Either you've succeeded and you say, that's great, we can go on to the next chapter. The mentor understands and enables you to speed up and you finish the course faster. Or on the contrary, you may need more time. He'll spend more time with you. It's a private mentoring session. He'll give you new exercises and you'll start again until you've really understood. What I find fabulous in the system is that barriers are falling. Often people think about the geographic barrier, because a French person can be a mentor for a Swiss person or a Moroccan or a Canadian. This kind of thing happens. But also the obstacle of age has come down. I'll give you an example. Karim is a mentor. He's 27 years old, and he is the father of 2, and he is retraining. Or Stéphane is 52. He teaches at an engineering school. He's the mentor of Justine, who's an agronomist, and who is trying to learn about project management. And it really works. In the space of a couple of months, Jean, who was being dismissed from PSA, managed to create his own activity in terms of developing mobile applications. And what's amazing in all this is that we haven't really invented anything new. As of the 80s, a famous educational researcher, Benjamin Bloom, found an extremely effective training method. He found that by combining master relearning, only going on to the next level if you mastered the lower level, and private mentorship, well, thanks to that, students had fabulous results. Whereas in the classroom, the average is 10 to 12, with some really good students, some really bad. Well, following this technique, Benjamin Bloom managed systematically to achieve good results. On average, the class was better than 88% of conventional classes. You're going to say, okay, maybe that sounds too good to be true. It's utopian. And you're right. You're right. It can't work. Why? Because private mentoring is costly. At least in the 80s, at the time of Benjamin Bloom, it was very costly. Today, however, technologies are here which enable us to link students with their mentor at a far lower price. You don't have to travel. The mentor can directly provide advice and meet his or her students. So Benjamin Bloom's dream has become feasible. At the time, Benjamin said, well, that will never be able to work, so I'll try to find other ways of doing things, but he didn't find any. And this became a major problem in education called the Bloom's Six Sigma problem, how to find such an effective method as private mentoring. But now this has become possible. What I'm trying to say to you today is that technology alone is not a magic wand. Technology alone could not have done anything in this case. It's by combining educational know-how and technological know-how that one can achieve absolutely striking results. So there we are. Today, I consider that we've reached the dawn of this revolution in education. Today, It's starting to become possible to educate thousands, millions of people, and to have a huge impact on these people's lives. They can finally find jobs. The future of education, the future of the world and upcoming generations is quite magical, and I hope that you'll want to join us. Thank you.